Pardon the audio. I'm in my favorite hallway. Uh, I say that because somebody said that the video sounded like I was in a hallway. No, I'm not in a hallway, but it's an inside joke on the VG Fight School channel. Apparently, an audience member of mine actually asked me. I can't remember who said so, but shout out to you. I might remember post production, but you said go ahead and check this story out. That Days Gone is getting a free visual update on PC. I was like, okay, I mean, what does that even mean? Well, apparently, this particular Broken Roads DLC update for the PC version of Days Gone, they receive a free update that will deliver improved visuals to the game. The Broken Road DLC will give PC gamers access to the game's remastered PS5 version. Now, this includes Horde mode, permadeath mode, speedrun mode, and enhanced photo mode. The PC version's free update will give the game DualSense controller support, new accessibility features, and several graphical improvements. These include improvements to the game world, more accurate lighting, improved screen space lighting and ambient occlusion, and doubled shadow map resolution options. Now, the question is, are PlayStation users getting the same thing for their base version of Days Gone? I do not know if they're actually getting this. In terms of the DLC for the PlayStation, it's insane at the end of the day if this is not happening. Now, this writer says, and they put all of the additional features that are going to be gotten here, and it says Days Gone Remastered and the game's Broken Road DLC are launching April 25th, which is basically a day from today, and on PC, it's getting a full visual overhaul. This will make the game look even better on PC and confirms that the PS5 version isn't just running the PS4 original with PC graphical settings. So maybe PlayStation 5 already had this, and somewhere, somehow, PC is going to be getting this for free. I've noticed something about right now the current climate in terms of the way PlayStation is doing its business on PC. It's become very, very friendly on the PC ecosystem. I have to also say that Xbox is in the same place, believe it or not. When you think about what these two companies have had to basically go through in a saturated market, you'll realize that they basically have, pretty much no choice. The market is saturated. You're going to see Nintendo also cave in different ways. Watch and see. The market's already saturated. There are too many games out here. And so they're all looking for your money. So in them looking for your money, they are doing things that are going to be consumer friendly to you. This is what makes it actually, pretty interesting at the end of the day, is when it's all said and done, these guys, they want your money. Actually, no, they need your money. So once you as the consumer realizes that, oh yeah, that's exactly what they need to live, then you can wield that power as you want. What they've gotten away with for the longest time is this so-called mirage that, oh, their games were special and you loved them and you needed them and you couldn't live without them. But now that there are so many more games on the market, that particular line of thinking has basically been exposed. It's not like it was true that you needed their games before, couldn't live without them. No, you always could. But what was needed was now basically you to have the first world problem of having too many games at hand, of which, as much as PlayStation may bring or delay its games, it's now irrelevant because they have a competitor who is beating them in the software proposition and is at their heels on their platform, in their dreams, anywhere they look. All they can see is Xbox. This is what makes it really interesting at the end of the day. So what do they have to do? Well, they have to play nice. They have no choice. Just remember, just a few months ago, if you maybe 10 months ago, depending on how you want to put it, or a year ago, PlayStation was requiring that you create a PlayStation account to play their games on PC. Did anybody remember that? So what did PC players do? They decided to train them like a Pokemon and say, okay, if you're going to require these things from us, then you're going to basically be in a position where we require for you to now grovel and beg. And so after, it started getting obvious that these these PC gamers are crazy enough to not be fooled by these pedantic nonsensical nonsense, they decided, well, we're just kidding. Why don't we remove this particular requirement and have you guys get in here and buy these games? Because the industry is not happy with not selling games and so-called exclusives. We can't trust our own community to buy our exclusives like Nintendo, simply because what's happened to our ecosystem is it's been taken over by everybody. the live service takeover, and now the Xbox takeover. I mean, over 10, almost 12 games in 1 year on your platform. Whew. Some people are now starting to say the words Xbox 5, because what Xbox has done is it's taken a calculator to the PlayStation platform. You know what I mean? And it said, you know what, we're going to win by, all possible measures and outlets that we can possibly go ahead and, chalk up that win. So they did that. They went in, they started selling their games on the platform that would more than likely seem like it had rivaled their platform, but in reality, Xbox just understands that the gamers, way of doing things is quite interesting. So what do gamers want? They want games. How can they play games? They can play games on their machines. Xbox looked and said, well, we can't sell these consoles, for crying out loud. We botched the Xbox One days, and that's resonating into all of this. So they looked around and said, let's convert PCs. Well, they converted PCs, and they're now comfortable there. And they looked around and said, man, we still need more customers, because, we're looking at 100 million, and we got to find it from somewhere. So they went straight to the opposing, platform and said, hey, man, how about we, cop your console for a little bit. Let's go ahead and get some games out there. And Nintendo was coming out with the Switch 2, which is being evaluated. We haven't heard much from Xbox games about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also go ahead and this is an Xbox, the Nintendo Switch 2, and everybody gets to see that, hey man, apparently people want to play games, and that's all that matters. So when we look at it and we kind of reduce all of this down, it's very interesting to see how we've come from the place where PlayStation was withholding its games across the board to now giving free improvements on PC, which is weird because last I checked, if I wanted a graphical improvement for Uncharted 4 on my PS5, they want me to pay money for it. That's one of the reasons I looked at PlayStation and says, you guys are joking. You know what I mean? Like, this is an absolute joke of whatever it is you want to go ahead and call it. Because I remember when I, was trying to get that, the Uncharted, I think I have the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves edition in terms of the game, right? And I remember I was looking to go ahead and upgrade to get the graphical upgrades for the PS5 because I bought the game on the PS4 days. I bought the digital. I owned different versions of the game, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you gotta pay $19.99." I said, "I gotta pay," and I think $9.99, sorry, or something like that. They said, "Oh yeah, you gotta pay $9.99." I said, "I gotta pay you what?" And I said to myself, "I think we're done here." Because if visual upgrades cannot be given to you for having a more powerful machine, then I think it's a big shame. And so now, guess what? It seems like, oh man, they're getting trained. Good on you, PlayStation. I love it. So, at the end of the day, when you think about it, there is no doubt in my mind that PlayStation will have to play ball. As much as it's going to try to ignore Xbox for the time being, Xbox is not going to ignore them. In fact, Xbox is going to use them and farm money. And then I think PlayStation is probably going to realize, man, we need a value proposition that actually stands out. And that's what the gaming industry is waiting for. If not, they're going to bleed users. And I think that's what Xbox is planning on doing. They're planning on bleeding users away from them. But they're just not saying it because they don't want to count their chickens while they're hatched. Because all I see here is people looking at incentives all over the place to basically say, when am I going to get the best value for my money? If they like PlayStation, they'll stick with PlayStation. If that's what they want to do, if that's all they know to do, but I don't know, folks. I'm not seeing how many gamers will be looking at this proposition in gaming unless there's a significant turnaround, and then they make a decision otherwise. But we'll see. You never know. Maybe PlayStation might come up with something, and I'm hoping they do. They need to compete so that we can see how Xbox can basically switch it up again. Because if PlayStation competes, Xbox gets more and more valuable. You know that, right? If PlayStation actually puts one more foot on, one more ounce of force or pound or per square inch of force, I guess, or pressure or whatever, on the gas pedal, Xbox gets better. So this is good for the industry. So as Xbox gets better and does things pro-consumer, PlayStation does as well. So there's like a relay going on in all of this. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Talk to me in the comment section, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.